detecting radiation with open source hardware Geiger counters, and what the frack? Darren explains. All that and more this time on Hak5. This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by Domaincom.
Hello and welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen.
Hello everyone, I'm Shannon Morse.
It's your weekly dose of Technolust.
Welcome to this very friendly show.
It's quite friendly indeed. We've got a fun one today.
We do.
I'm really excited.
We have some hardware.
We've got some software.
Yeah.
You put those things together.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. We've got a lot of weird projects going on, a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I wish that we could share some of them with you right now. A lot of working for DEF CON.
I promise.
Yes, but
we have our IRC open in the studio now.
Right, we do.
That's really exciting.
We don't have the live stream going because we're rebuilding computers.
Yeah, we are.
It's fun.
I think in the past few days we've rebuilt like what?
3 computers.
Three now? Jeez.
Yeah, we're going through a lot.
Yeah.
But
well,
good things, it's like a storm. You know, you start getting on that roll, and you're like, I want to build everything. So we're doing a lot of that. I'll show you guys at the next open house, which will have announcements.
Ooh, an open house.
Soon enough, and I can't wait to see you all there. But with that, I'm excited because Shannon will actually be able to welcome you into our warehouse at the next open house by detecting your radiation. Isn't that right, Shannon?
It's true, yeah. So I've been having a lot of fun with Geiger counters, as weird as that might be, but I've learned crap load about how Geiger counters work, what they actually detect, and what it means whenever you're detecting different kinds of ionizing radioactivity.
Ooh,
that's what it's all about.
What is ionizing radioactivity? Because I think Geiger counter, and I'm just like transported to 1980s sci-fi films.
Yes.
I'm thinking E.T. and like the people in the Tyvek suits.
See, I'm totally thinking like ghost hunters because they use Geiger counters, but it's totally like pseudoscience.
What on
no
earth
sense whatsoever.
do ghosts have to do with radiation?
This is a Geiger counter. I'll have more information on this in a bit, but first I wanted to explain what Geiger counters are. So they detect that ionizing radioactivity, and that includes things like gamma rays, X-rays, beta, and alpha radiation. So there's 4 different kinds that Geiger counters can detect. Most of them, if not all, detect gamma and X-rays, and then some of them can also detect alpha and beta depending on the hardware, depending on how it was made. So, a Geiger counter. These always have this weird looking tube, this part right here.
So that's the thing that actually does the detecting.
Yeah, so it's made out of this really, really thin glass, and it's really easy to break them, so you have to be incredibly careful with it.
Yeah, you should take a look at this. It's kind of, in fact, isn't this like a Soviet era surplus
cool.
cylinder that isn't really manufactured anymore?
Yeah, well, you can still find them around, but you probably have to buy them off like eBay. But luckily they do still work. It's called a Geiger Mueller tube. I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Oh.
Yeah, Geiger
I take
Mueller.
it that the Geiger counter was invented by some guy named Geiger.
Exactly, so I won't go into that whole spiel, but basically your Geiger counter will usually have a tube, some kind of audio output, like some kind of readout, and then a visual output. So the one I have here only has an audio output. So when I turn it on, it will start beeping whenever radioactivity starts hitting it. So I'll leave it on for now and see if it actually detects anything in here.
Oh, okay.
And if it doesn't, I might just need to turn up the potentiometer. Yay.
Oh, so there's a way to actually adjust the sensitivity, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. So the tube or detector is the heart of the Geiger counter. It has to have some kind of tube inside of it. It counts particles of radiation that hit it by milliroentgens or Roentgens, depending on how you're from.
Is there like a better name for that?
There's those, that's per hour. So those are for X-rays and gamma rays. And then there's microsieverts per hour. Basically, 1 click equals 1 particle count. So every time a particle hits the tube, it'll click. And then meter readouts on counters can also be CPM or clicks per minute. So depending on which one you buy, it's going to be measured in different ways. And CPM is used to measure alpha and beta radiation usually. So the tube is filled with this inert gas, like it could be helium, neon, argon, for example. Very, very low pressure.
So we really don't want to crack that tube.
No, yeah, we really don't. Well, that would be high pressure. That would be an issue, but it's low pressure, so it's not going to like explode in your face or anything. High voltage is applied by turning it on, so you just power it by batteries or plugging it in or whatever. And then the tube conducts electrical charge whenever a particle is going to hit it. The gas inside is conductive by ionization. So the ionization sends a pulse to the electronics in the counter and gives you some kind of count. So ours does counts per second, so CPS. Also, it can be construed as counts per minute, and equivalent dosage reported via the serial port once a second. So you do have access to a serial port on this open source hardware that I have. Ionization is basically a process in which an atom or a molecule acquires a negative or positive charge by gaining or losing electrons to form ions. So this is often in conjunction with other chemical changes that might happen. You may be reminded of high school science about it now. It's kind of confusing. Won't go down that path. Basically, particles are hitting it. It's telling you how many particles are happening.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yes, because maybe you don't want to have too many X-ray and gamma ray particles up in your joint. Maybe that's not good.
There's gamma rays and X-rays, those two that I first mentioned. Those are part of the electromagnetic spectrum. There's really high frequency, they're very short wavelength. Both can be potentially dangerous. For example, if you're in a hospital and you're getting X-rays, they put that big coat on you when you're getting those X-rays done. That's to protect you from the X-rays. Gamma rays usually occur in naturally occurring things like granite, for example.
Granite?
Or other
Wait,
types
granite?
Of rocks. Yeah, seriously. So if you have granite countertops at home, there's something inside of them, I believe it's called radium. I'll have to look it up again.
Sure.
But granite countertops are one thing that you can use to test Geiger counters because they do give off a very small bit of radiation. It's not enough to harm you, but it is a very good thing to test.
A little bit of trivia. I actually know from Dave Randolph explaining this to me. In fact, I'm actually wearing his shirt right now, Go System. That Corningware, right, who makes a lot of different dishes and stuff, back in the day used this, I think it was the radium stuff, in like some of their plates. So there are these vintage plates. Yes, so there's these vintage plates from the 60s that you can probably still find on eBay that are totes radioactive.
Yeah.
We should probably explain that everything is
radioactive. You have radioactivity going on inside of you, not very much, obviously. There's other things in smoke detectors have radioactivity.
Americium, and we did an awesome Domaincom ad with Paul and I with the duckies. Anyway, yes, americium, fun stuff.
So yeah, basically gamma radiation, that's pretty much found everywhere because it's naturally occurring. So pretty much wherever you are, you're going to pick up like some kind of background count on your Geiger tube or your Geiger counter because it's there. Alpha radiation is the other type. That's positively charged particles emitting from the nucleus of an atom during decay, because atoms decay over time. They can't get through more than an inch of air or a piece of paper. It's kind of interesting. So you can test what kind of particles you're picking up by using a piece of paper. Same thing with beta radiation. So beta is the negatively charged particles happening during an atom's decay. So these are a lot lighter. They can penetrate better than alpha particles, but not through more than a few millimeters of aluminum. So you can also test your Geiger tube with aluminum if it can't get through that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So these are the ways that you could, if it gets through this, if it gets through that, then the various levels of it.
Oh,
that's
really
cool.
How do you determine what type you're picking up?
So that could be useful in actually calibrating this as well.
Exactly.
You know, the one time I didn't wear my Half-Life Lambda shirt.
I know, right?
Anyway.
Oh, Half-Life. So the problem with Geiger counters like this is it's very open. The only thing I'm picking up is the blinks every time some kind of particle hits this. But the problem is there's 4 different particles this could pick up. I don't know which ones I'm picking up. So I want to do some kind of tests. So one thing I could do is aim my Geiger counter at some kind of suspect that I think is radioactive. So for example, my granite countertop. So the reading, first off, if it's gamma and or X-ray or beta, you can place a 1/8 inch thick aluminum piece between the instrument and your source. So if it stops, it's most likely beta radiation.
Oh, okay.
The most common isotopes, those are going to be emitting gamma and beta. So beta is very common. You can also aim it at and next to your radiation source, and if you get hits, then no hits, then it's alpha, beta, or low energy gamma. So now what you can do after that, you can place aluminum foil between your counter and your source.
You can put it on your head.
You can put it on your head.
Do that.
And if it stops, then it's most likely beta. So you can do the same thing with paper. If it stops, it's alpha.
The paper hats don't work the same way the aluminum foil ones do. Or aluminium, in fact.
I should mention, this is very open, so it's picking up my own radiation.
Oh, I see. It's kind of like an omnidirectional tube.
That's why Yeah, it's picking up radiation from all sorts of different sources right now. So it's not very scientific, this one, but it is really fun to build because, yay, hardware and soldering. But if you want to buy like a consumer one, it has an opening on one end. So it's very, very pointed, and you're not going to contaminate it from behind while you're pointing it at whatever source you think is your radiation.
Can I pop in some fresh batteries on this guy?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
I'll let you do it because I mess up my nails every time I try to change the batteries.
Wow, yeah, this is a little tough.
So yeah, I did a demo video at home, and I'll just talk over it. But yeah, I did.
Whoop, whoa.
There it goes.
The battery wasn't set properly. I'm gonna set this. Oh. Whoa.
So the hard part about this is it's hard to determine if it's turned up too high from the. There we go.
The potentiometer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now it's just beeping
a little bit.
Yeah.
Ah, sensitivity.
Yeah, it's very, very sensitive when you turn up the potentiometer. And that is found. I'm going to turn you off because you're so loud.
Wow.
But
the blue guy.
This is the potentiometer right here. So I can turn that up, and as it increases, I can tell how sensitive it is. Over here, I have the little bell, the little dingy part, the LED, and then there's a whole bunch of capacitors on here, resistors and whatnot. Luckily, the website, well, unfortunately, the website doesn't give the most amazing FAQ for building it for somebody who's really new to hardware, but there are
you tell me about the build, right? Because you had to assemble this completely yourself
you
solder it together and all that. I love that it's a kit, right?
Yeah, me too.
It makes it so much more entertaining than just buying a Geiger counter. And it's rad that it's rad.
It's totally
it's
rad.
totally rad that the Geiger counter is open hardware.
So this one that I bought is from a website called mightyohm.com. Love ohms. It's called the Geiger Counter. They do sell one that comes in a case, but your tube is going to still be completely open, so there is no pointed center. So it's still going to pick up a lot of radiation from all different sections that cause radiation. But they do have assembly instructions here, and luckily the instructions are really good if you understand what you're doing with hardware. But if you're new, this isn't going to make a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah, those are their directions. So luckily they do have pictures on there, and they do explain, like, here's 10K, but then you have to match up with whatever stickers you have in your warehouse. What does 10K resistor look like?
I mean, that's part of the fun, though. That's the fun.
It is. It's very fun. Luckily, I already learned that, so I was able to figure it out real quick.
Actually, just by, we should show the back of it,
yeah,
really,
the
because
soldering.
that's what's nice, is it's all pin through. So you
Yes.
can see those tiny little, you just put the little legs through the holes and you just solder them up and snip them, or maybe you snip them before you solder them.
I didn't snip them
I've
all
heard
too
conflicting
tight. But
reports on that.
what I preferred to do when I was building this was put in all the resistors first, fold the long legs over, and then after that I was able to put in the capacitors, fold those over. So I tried to put in as much as I could, and then take it one piece at a time, and then, for things that I couldn't necessarily clip, like the AA batteries.
Right.
I would solder those first and then move on from there.
This is an excellent project too for, like, the next thing now is I want to build with the laser cutter an acrylic case for it and
dude,
things
you
of
should.
that nature. So,
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
yes, lots of awesome opportunities for radness in this project.
Definitely. I mean, there's so many things in the world that have some kind of radiation that come from them. The only problems that I would say with this open source hardware here is the tube can't differentiate between all those different radiation types. So that's going to be a problem if you're specifically looking for a certain kind of radiation.
Well, no, you just said, though, that I can actually just, like,
Yeah, you can
shield
do
it behind
tests.
paper or aluminum or
Yeah.
those different things if I'm only looking for one.
And then there's also this thing that I read about called dead time with the tube. So the
Is that a
tube
new game on
basically
Steam?
has dead time. It's like a zombie game. So it's an insensitive wait time period after each count that it perceives. So it has to basically charge back up in a
Recharge.
way.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like a recharging wait time. It's not very long. It doesn't last long at all, but it does happen. So that's why in between counts, I could have 1 million counts on here, but I could only get 900,000 or whatever it might be.
Okay.
Another problem that you have is mine is so open. This is open source hardware, and there's no case on this. The case that they do sell covers a little bit, but not much. So there's particles hitting left and right. They're coming from all over the place, and it's really hard to deduct what is causing the radiation and from where.
Oh, you know what? As you mentioned that, it just occurred to me because the first thing that I thought was you mentioned that this has serial ports on it, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So similar to, for instance, that Arduino project that you were doing a while back, using the carbon monoxide and all of those other detectors that could detect benzene and things of that nature.
So
I was
cool.
thinking, like, how awesome would it be to, strap that thing to the quadcopter, right? And then detect the radiation coming from the places we could fly it around, and then it's probably going to just pick up the motors and all of the
Yeah, it
whatever's
would.
coming off the drone.
Yeah.
So we'll need a cable. Anyway, I'll keep considering this one. But yes,
So
good
yes,
stuff.
this is really cool. You can get your own over at mightyown.com. They cost, I believe, around $100. Let me take a look. Yeah, okay, so they have the kit, that's what we got here, and that was about $100. And you can also get one that comes with a case, and they do come with the Geiger tube as well if you don't already have a Geiger tube, and they also list which kind of tubes that they work with, because apparently there's different kinds of tubes.
Okay.
So the
Good
question
stuff.
is, do you go with the one that's not as exact for $100, or do you go with a Geiger counter that's like really good and gets amazing reviews on Amazon that costs $500? Yeah.
Or if you already have a lot of the components already, you may only need the tube. And since it's
That's
open
true.
hardware, you may be able to come up with your own design and then
Yeah.
extend upon it. So it really just depends on what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
How much work you're willing to put in.
Right, and that's always the beautiful thing about open source. So you know what? We're going to take a look at some other open source and see how much work we have to put in to
Yes.
correct some mistakes. And I'm going to warn you, this upcoming segment, we drop the F-bomb a lot, so we're going to say frack instead. Whoa. Yes.
Sorry, guys.
So say we all. We'll be back in just a sec. If you've watched Hak5 for a while, you know we love Domain.com and we use them whenever we register domains. But the other day, I was thinking about all the epic projects that we have going on at the Hak5 warehouse this summer. We've got open source, distributed social networks. We've got drone racing. Do you know we're doing drone racing? Amazing things are happening. So when Domain.com came to me and was all like, dude, .club, I was all about it. I have to say, there are so many .club ideas that I'm having. It's kind of insane. So just expect a lot of cool Hak5.club stuff. And really because it's the perfect domain. It's universally understood, right? I mean, globally, if you say club, like people know what you're talking about. So if you're building a new business or you're naming your startup or whatever have you, a .club is perfect. And I mean, really any kind of business idea could be a club. I mean, the whole internet is all about community and collaboration and being social, and club, it is the perfect social domain name. So this summer, get ready for a bunch of Hak5 and .club. And in the meantime, when you're thinking about getting your next website on a .club domain, so head over to domain.com/club and register your .club domain. They're only $9.99 a year, and thousands of amazing options are still available. And when you are over there, go ahead and make use of the coupon code HAK5, HAK5. That'll save you 15% off, and let our friends over at domain.com know we sent you. Matter of fact, let's do this right now. Tweet at Hak5Darren the .club domain that you registered on domain.com, and we'll send you guys mad props. So when you think domain names, think domain.com. Something I recently learned at camp is that every now and then, you F up. It's gonna happen, but when you do, you should proudly proclaim, I'm awesome. And that's what today's open source software is all about. It's embracing the awesome and saying, when I am awesome, I'm gonna run this tool and just F it, right? Everything is going to be magically better.
So this guy's totally calling you out on it. We got a tweet from @tsamples. He said, at Hak5Darren, this might be a good tool to look at if you forget sudo a lot. GitHub.com/nvbn/the awesome.
Yeah, you want to pull up that GitHub actually? There we go.
Yeah.
This is my GitHub pick of the week. In fact, it is an awesome piece of open source software. And I'm just going to walk you guys through how to use it and how to get started, because it's probably something that you might get some use out of. So basically, I use a lot of time here. I'll switch over to this and show you. I'll do something like, I don't know, what requires
apt-get
root.
install.
Here, let me do vi sudo, right? And then boom, permission denied. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, right, I'm not root. So I'll do a sudo bang bang, right? But it's more than just forgetting to do sudo.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of times where we just screw up a command and it's a really simple fix. And
Yeah.
if you actually scroll to the bottom of there, there's a couple of really good examples. But essentially, what it comes down to is this program, which we'll lovingly refer to as either Frack or Awesome, is an amazing tool that can actually do kind of, I don't want to say find and replace, but basically it can fix a lot of mistakes that you may make on the command line if it's a Friday night and you've been drinking and you probably shouldn't be running as root anyway.
Darren's really familiar with this problem.
Yes, yeah. So there are some examples in here about like how, if you're using Git a lot and you forget to do the right push commands, you can run this and
then you go frack, and then it actually puts it in for you.
Yeah, it puts it in for you. So let's go ahead and get started. You're going to need Python pip. It's a Python installer thingy. You're going to also need Python dev. So sudo apt-get install those if you don't already have them. Those dependencies look like,
That's Python-pip and Python-dev, or tac dev if
yes.
you're Darren.
And Python tac pip. So you'll need those, and I'll just put pound in front of that because I don't need to run it because I already have those. And then once you have that, you can do a sudo pip install awesome.
Darren's password is Starbuck.
There we go, and that's cleaned up. And so now, here, I'll clear the screen and bring this down here and maybe even increase the font a little so you can see this. I can actually do this. And, actually it'll say no awesomes given. But the reason for that is because we actually need to pass it some parameters for it to fix.
I see.
And so for that, we're actually going to add an alias. I know that you've already talked about this extensively in your, if you haven't seen already, Shannon did a great hack tip series on Bash. So check that out. But essentially, we're going to edit our Bash RC file. So I'm going to come over to here and let's see, nano my bash RC file, and at the very end, this is where you put some aliases. I've already commented it out, but I'll walk you through it. Basically, we alias awesome to run this command, and that's why it's in little parentheses there.
Nice. Okay.
And it's going to...
so it looks at the history of your commands.
Yes.
And it uses the last one.
And then it uses, the last command that we did, and then it passes that as a variable to awesome.
Cool.
So I'm going to go, I've taken that pound out, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I'll exit this terminal and just open a new one. I could have also just run bash. Let me increase that font size so you guys can see at home. So now, if I do something like apt-get install, I don't know, TCP dump. I don't think I already have that on here. And it's like, oh, yo, dog, totes can't do that because you ain't root. Then you can just be like, well, actually, what I meant was awesome. And you type awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
And you need to give it my password as root. And boom, now I'm installing TCP dump. And I couldn't be happier. Thank you. Thank you for that tip. I think we can all learn something from this. And you know what's amazing is this, because it's open source, because it's all built in Python, it's extensible, and there's actually a, basically it's modular. You can add additional not find and replace, but basically like common mess ups and the appropriate fixes so you too can be awesome. That's one every systems administrator should have.
Oh man, this was a fun show.
Yes, it really was.
That was kind of hilarious. I prefer frack myself.
You know what? If you guys, if so say we all, frack it. Let's say if you've got some ideas you want to send our way, feedback@hak5.org is the email that hits up the entire Hak5 team, and then we can get our brains on it, and it is fun. Yes.
I also want to mention that we've been doing a lot of really cool shows over here. So if you haven't checked out hak5.org, that's where you can find all of our social networks under follow, and you can also find all the different shows that we've been doing right on the main page. So that includes Hak5, Hack Tip, Metasploit Minute, Tech Thing, and ThreatWire. And we are doing Patreon for ThreatWire and Tech Thing. So if you really love the show and you want to show us your support, please do. We have links on the shows.
Yes, ThreatWire and Metasploit Minute and Hack Tip and Tech Thing and Pineapple University and all of these amazing things that we are so proud of. And we're gonna, we've been getting a couple emails because I guess I said last week that we might have some I don't want to say positions open, but some opportunities for people within the community to help out make more cool community
awesome.
stuff. I know that a bunch of people in IRC have been having fun with that already. So anyway, feedback at hak5.org is also good. I know that we will be rolling game servers here real soon. We're getting into a whole series on building out our server cluster environment.
Can't wait.
So I can't wait until we have a Minecraft server.
Yeah, me too.
I'll see you guys on that. Hak5.org/follow for all the places to find us on the social networks and all of that. Hakshop.com if you want to get yourself some goodies like Wi-Fi
Yay!
pineapples, USB rubber duckies, other good stuff like
DEF
that.
CON's coming up.
Hey, we're gonna have some fun stuff for DEF CON. I can't wait to see you guys in August when we celebrate our 10-year anniversary of
Dude,
Hak5.
so proud.
Can you believe that? 10 years. So if you've been watching since season one.
What did Tom Merritt say? Presents for 10-year-olds accepted.
Yes. So if you're gonna be, at DEF CON, you can just go ahead and bring little toys for tots. It's totes cool.
We'll donate them.
Actually, we want to hear from you. If you've been watching since season one, tweet at us. I'm at Hak5Darren.
I'm at Snubs.
With that, we are reminding you once again to trust your technolust. Oh, see? Not me, it's all you. It's all you. Oh.
Oh, it's totally me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I need to shave. Are you okay? No, you're doing that. You're doing that thing with your face again.
For technolist.
Whoa.